120 frames per second or 60 frames per second. Hey, I'm in the place we rented here in Torrevieja La Mata, not far away from Alicante. Today I'm going out to shoot. Just a time to drink some coffee and I'll hit the road. This morning I went out and I wanted to film something and I found quite a few interesting spots. What I have done so far during my holiday. I celebrated my birthday on August 15th with my wife and my son Michael. I ate some awesome food. Awesome food. I try to relax. That's what I'm still doing. Trying to relax. Trying to recharge my batteries. Is it working out? Yes. Big time. So this is what I'm trying to do. I'm doing great. Like this place is called Parque del Molino de Agua, Watermill Park. There should be a lot of water involved in this, like water going in and out and around. It's early in the morning, it's barely 8 a.m. but it's really like 100 degrees or something. Oh my god. I'm following the water. I'm shooting clips like slow motion for B-roll, and some of them in 120 frames per second and some of them in 60 and slow down in post. Can you tell the difference? So this is where the water ends. Here. So as I said, the B-rolls in this video were shot either at 120 frames per second or 60 frames per second. Were you able to tell the difference? When you were looking at the B-roll, you could easily say, this is 120, this is 60. Just let me know in the comments down below. Leave a comment and hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And since you're there, check the link to Epidemic Sound and you can get some awesome music and great sound effects to use in your videos for 1 month for free. let me put this here, it's really uncomfortable. And I was saying, with the Canon EOS R, when you shoot at 60 frames per second, the quality is 1080. But when you shoot 120 frames per second, the resolution is 720. So it's supposed to be less quality. But again, you have to judge. Let me know if you notice a lot of difference from some piece of footage to another. But the differences, well, other differences besides the resolution, the 720 against 1080, well, when you shoot with high frame rate, you lose the dual pixel autofocus. You actually lose any kind of focus. So you have to focus your subject before pressing the rec button, and then that's it. You have to make things do. And also you lose the sound completely. You lose stabilization. You lose everything. When you shoot 120 frames per second with the Canon EOS R, one, you lose resolution because it's not going to be 1080, it's going to be 720p. And number two, you lose the autofocus. Number three, you lose the stabilization. Number four, you lose the sound. Well, for what concerns the sound, I don't really care. I mean, it's not a big deal because when I shoot a B-roll, I just put some music on it, and if I need some sound effects, I can easily find them on, Epidemic Sound, for example. Check the link to Epidemic Sound that you get 1 month for free. But what I'm saying, that it's not always easy, it's not always convenient, it's not always practical to shoot 120 frames per second with a Canon EOS R. It depends on what you shoot or what you need. When you shoot at 60 frames per second, you keep the autofocus, you keep the stabilization. There are pros and cons in shooting either 120 or 60 frames per second with the Canon EOS R. And we talked about the negative things of shooting 120 and all the positive things of shooting 60, but the main thing is footage shot 120 frames per second. On this camera, for example, it immediately converts itself in slow motion when you shoot. You don't need to do anything in post. It actually becomes a 30 frames per second video, which I conform to 24. But that's a different story. Now, the thing is that when you shoot 120 frames per second, 720p, the file is ready to go. You can use it. It's already slow motion, and it's 1/4 of the speed, 25% of real-time speed. So it's a kind of slow, nice, like very cinematic. When you shoot at 60 frames per second, first of all, you have to slow it down in post. Otherwise, you just have a normal, real speed, 60 frames per second video. So when you put it in your computer, you open it from, Premiere Pro, Resolve, you have to conform the footage, the file, to a 24 frames per second timeline. And then it becomes a slow motion. However, it slows down something like 50%. So it's never going to be as slow and smooth as the 120 frames per second one. Well, for what concerns the speed, if the subject doesn't move fast, or if you move the camera very slow, well, you can make things do with 60 frames per second. But the problem is, even if your subject is moving slowly and you're moving the camera slowly, well, it depends if there are other objects or people around the subject that are not moving slowly, and I mean, that look weird. So I'm back home to play some renting for the holiday. So what's better with the Canon EOS R for slow motion? 120 frames per second or 60 frames per second? As I told you, there are pros and cons with both, but actually my favorite, in spite of the lower resolution, 720, my favorite is still 120 frames per second. It just looks different. You can say it's low resolution all you want. I like it. Of course, there are times where I need the autofocus, or I might need a higher resolution, and that's when I use 60 frames per second and slow it down in post. But in the end, it's all about your personal choice, your personal taste. Alright, now I'm gonna have breakfast, and I guess we'll be going to the beach for the rest of the day, or at least for a few hours. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.